This is a look at the photographic gear that rarely gets a headline or a review. One miserable London evening, all my Nikon gear was stolen from the boot and trunk of my car. I replaced the cameras and lenses easily the next day. A year later, I was still replacing the accessories. As Joni Mitchell sang, "You don't know what you've got till it's gone." In accounts of the California gold rush, it is the prospectors who capture the imagination. Yet what could they have done without an army of bucket, spade and boot sellers to back them up? So it is with cameras and lenses. This is a look at my personal buckets and spades, the unsung, unexciting accessories without which my photography cannot smoothly function. First and most basic, I pay a lot of money for lenses. The most vulnerable part is the front element. Hard-coated as they are nowadays, it makes sense to protect them from scratches and chipping or even harmful liquids. I use Hoya or Kenko UV or protection filters. They don't cost a fortune and they don't have any discernible effect on sharpness. I'd even accept a tiny hit on sharpness for the peace of mind they give when using a lens on a sandy beach or in gale conditions. The one caveat is that in night photography, where a light source is included, you might see a ghost image in the finder. It is easily remedied. You could recompose the picture omitting the light source, or you could pretend it was an artistic decision and caption the picture "Lamp with Reflections 2016. Or you could do what everybody else does and just take off the filter. I no longer use colour filters, reds for a dark sky and so on when doing monochrome pictures, because the effects are so simply replicated in camera or post-processing. Now, camera supports. My main tripod needs are met by a carbon fibre Giotto MTL 8360B. It is built to take a DSLR, so will happily handle any Micro Four Thirds camera and lens. Its main attribute is that it does what it is supposed to, hold the camera still, so many tripods don't. I always advocate buying a tripod a step up from what the specs tell you. So, if I were using a full-frame DSLR, I'd buy a tripod for medium format. Carbon fibre is good but costly. It's not a massive weight saving over aluminium, and I'd much prefer to get the next tripod up the spec scale in aluminium than the lower one in carbon fibre, if money is a factor. Where the tripod head is concerned, I really do rate precision. The problem with ball heads is that, quick and versatile as they are, they always seem to sag a bit after you set them. I prefer slow and solid like this Manfrotto 410 geared head. I do quite a bit of product type photography and the 410 is ideal, but I now find myself using it for all tripod work. Of course, if you pay enough for a ball head, you'll get as much precision as you could wish for. Cheapskate that I am, the 410 gives me that precision for less money. It's heavy and slow though, not so hot for landscapes along walkaway, or quick setting for lively subjects. A good ball head will always earn its keep. While on the subject of mounts, something I highly recommend and which is a bargain for what it does, is the Manfrotto 035 Super Clamp. It's just one of those fixer items. It turns a bicycle or a tree into a camera platform. It's cheap and very flexible to position, especially if you fit a tripod head to it. You can use it to mount a flash too. And with the heavy-duty flexible arm, you can mount a small camera in otherwise impossible ways. I have a Manfrotto 680B monopod, which I use as and when. Quite handy for handheld macro shots, for example, just to steady the camera in position. Then there's the Manfrotto compact travel tripod. It shivers and shakes like a nervous wreck, but it is cheap. I use it to mount a flash rather than a camera. It was a present, and to tell the truth, I hardly use it. Much more useful is this little Manfrotto tabletop item, the 709B. It's always in my camera bag. It has a really good solid little ball head, is rock steady, and comes in handy in more ways than I have time to explain. It's a must-have. Talking of camera bags, I've tried all sorts and find the sling type best of all. It's just so useful to swing it round and yank out a camera quickly. They're not so useful for DSLRs because the single sling strap limits the practical size of the bag, but for Micro Four Thirds users they are perfect. I like the quality and usability of the Low-Pro bags. I've tried others and actually bought another make, but went back to the Low-Pro, mine is the 250 AW, after a couple of months. I ran into a problem when I bought the Olympus 40-150 f2.8, because I like to carry two camera bodies, one with the telly, one with a normal zoom. to avoid lens changing where possible. This meant the Panasonic 7-14mm had to be crammed in anywhere I could find. Looking for a slightly bigger bag, I went into Camera World, just off Oxford Street in central London. I hunted through the wall of bags there, but nothing suited me like my own low-pro sling. Then one of the guys came over. Could he help? He certainly could, because Simon Antonio knew a lot more about low-pro than I did, and solved my problem in a few moments. Low-pros are modular. I had no idea. Among the modules or add-ons is the Exchange Case 100AW. It velcros securely on the side of the bag, and in it pops the wide-angle zoom. So, storage problem solved. But not only storage, because the case's main function is to facilitate lens changes. Watch. Functional or what? Next, straps. Yawn. I occasionally use a neck strap, but more generally prefer a wrist strap on my GX8, and, because of the heavier lens and battery pack, the neck strap on my EM1. So that I can swap between them, I use Optec system connectors. Straps get on my nerves a bit, so I only use them when I really need to. Now, flash guns. I use flash as little as possible and have a Metz 15 MS1, on which I've done a review. But my main flash is this ratty old cheapo ring flash. It sells under various names and cost me about £30. It's manual, but that doesn't really matter for my purposes, since I just do test shots until I get it right. It's plenty powerful for macro and product type shots. Mainly, I just love the quality of ring flash. Something glitzy about it glamourizes the most mundane of subjects. Not meaning my daughter, I hastily add. One of the silliest of my accessories is this £6 lens hood from Amazon for 46mm thread lenses. On Olympus's 17mm it really is funky looking. Whether it functions for anything useful I don't know, but its muzzle brake style cutouts make me feel manly, and that's the main thing. Who needs Viagra when you have a slotted lens hood? Reflectors are handy. This is my last light, which I must have had for 30 years. They contain contrasty light, and I love them for that beside a swimming pool effect on portraits. Here's a quirky little homemade item. It's a sewing frame. I've stretched a piece of white t-shirt over it, and with a light or flash under it, it works a little shadow-killing magic. So, these are a few of my favourite things. Unlike Maria in The Sound of Music, I'm not crazy about raindrops on roses or whiskers on kittens, bright copper kettles or warm woolen mittens. But I do like brown paper packages tied up with string. Who knows, they might have an Olympus MAL1 Macro Arm Light Mark II in them. I'm just a romantic fool, really. Thanks for watching.